Hello and welcome to my second standard spotlight video. The last one has been a while, but I figured I'll do another one because I think the format is kind of nice and interesting to um, just show a new deck that has recently been popping up and doing well, just introducing it to people that are not following every tournament that closely, for example, and see the deck and want to see the deck in action and explained a bit. So yeah, this deck is Bant Eldrazi, which is basically kind of a development of the 4-color company deck that I wrote about in my last article from the double GP weekend, which has been kind of um, dominating the GP weekend as one of the newer decks, which basically is like a development of the black-green aristocrat. So basically, let's go over the history the deck real quick. Basically, black-green aristocrats popped up at the Pro Tour. The development of that basically was going 4-color for Reflector Mage and Eldrazi Displacer, and they basically had a combo of 3 Brute Monitor and 1 Zulaport Cutthroat to have an infinite kill. Here's the Brute Monitor, 3 Eldrazi Science, basically allow you to activate Eldrazi Displacer for free on Brute Monitor. So you can basically sacrifice infinite Eldrazi Science, which gives you infinite die triggers for Catacomb Sifter and the one of Sulaport Cutthroat that they ran. And their sideboard plan basically was going more proactive with Reality Smashers and other creatures in the sideboard. And the next step of development that happened recently is basically Bant Eldrazi. They just put the Reality Smashers in the main deck, replaced the Cutthroat with an Advocate rather than the Force Smasher, because you want to keep up the number of creatures for Collected Company, and replaced Catacomb Sifter with Eldrazi Spawner because Sky Spawner, because if you're into attacking, that's a lot better card than Catacomb Sifter because of the evasion. So that makes sense. The one thing that I'm not too happy with is the 4 Cryptolith Rights, in theory, because even the black-green Aristocrats deck, which got a lot of use out of that card and was kind of reliant on that card, only ran 3, because the second copy doesn't do anything. And while the 4-color deck might needed more 4-color fixing and to ramp into the 6-mana Brute Monitor, this deck has no 6-drop, is a lot less dirtily and combo oriented, and also colorless, so it's only 3 colors. So I could easily see replacing the Force Cryptolith Rights, for example, with the Force Smasher in the main deck or another Sylvan Advocate. But for now I leave it like that. This is basically a list that Oliver Tiu and Magnus Lantto ran at the Magic Online Championship last week, which is where the deck got more exposure. I think it has been popping up on Magic Online before that already, but I'm not entirely sure. I think I've seen lists on Magic Online before the Magic Online Championship. But yeah, Magnus Lantto and Oliver Tiu are strong players that are recently doing really well in tournaments and have good people to prepare with. So for now I'll just take their list and go from there. But yeah, the 4th Cryptolith Rights seems like almost an obvious cut to me. The rest seems to make a lot of sense. We have 2 Lumbering Falls to cement a more proactive plan and have more ways to attack, especially against controlling decks. It also has nice synergy with the Advocate and the extra Advocates in sideboard. There's the Force Smasher in the sideboard, more Advocates and Lumbering Falls against control decks, especially against black-white. Lumbering Falls really good. There's some removal, mostly Dromoka's Command to fight opposing Cryptolith Rights and mirror-ish matchups, and some other enchantments. Plus we have bigger bodies to actually make this a reasonable removal. Negate for control decks, especially white-black. Friend of mine ran the deck at the MTGCardmarket Open Series in Frankfurt the same weekend and said the deck was really good, and he basically felt advantaged against anything except black-white. So black-white is the matchup to look out for, to how to improve further. And yeah, Hallowed Moonlight makes sense because there's a lot of company decks in all variants, like Bant Company, Bant Eldrazi, Black Green, Sacrifice, 4-color Company, Bant Humans. With Company, there's so many company decks, so Hallowed Moonlight's just a really sweet card to have. And Aesthetic is basically the force enchantment removal that, unlike Chromocost Command, can be flickered with Displacer. That's why there's the split. And yeah, there's one Oshutize command as like kind of a value card. Not sold on this one. It's kind of like low impact and a bit like random, but it's like a 2-for-1 that has some flexibility. So it's certainly not a bad card, but it feels like a bit of a weird sideboard slot because it doesn't have any specific purpose other than generate some value. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. And yeah, when we already like have free black mana in the deck, this is a sweet card to have, especially against all the like planeswalker decks, green-white tokens, and black-white control, for example. So yeah, that's the deck for now. Mana base is pretty straightforward, less Westvale Abbey than in the other decks because we have less token generation and general board flooding, so activating like flipping the Westvale Abbey is less likely and harder to do, especially without losing a lot of value than in the other decks. And the rest is just like pain lands to cast Reality Smasher and activate Eldrazi Displacer, and duels to fix the mana. Okay, that's it for with the deck for now. Let's jump into a competitive Magic Online League, see how we're doing, and talk about the deck after we played some games with it. See you in a moment for the games.